Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Mystery Trail. It's Tom here with you. And it's really cold out here. I'm in the foothills of Appalachia. And it's so cold that like earlier on I was trying to do some filming and the camera kept freezing up. All my batteries were just drained even though that I charged them up. Everything just got too cold, but I've warmed the camera up. I went inside, everything's okay I think at this point, hopefully. Okay, so I'm in an area right now, a wooded area, but it's not deep woods. It's actually in a residential area. Kind of, I'm gonna do a little walk along here, and I want to do an investigation, a full investigation of this place at some point. I want to put some trail cameras up. There's been trail cameras the neighbors have put up in some cases, but nothing really strange has turned up as far as I know. But there have been, there's been a lot of wildlife that show up, coyotes and foxes and things like that, and the usual deer. But I want to do a more in-depth investigation because of the strange things that have happened in this area over a long period of time, though, usually. Now, if you are very sensitive about things like animal mutilations, that type of thing, then you may want to click off this video, because I'm going to go to some areas here and tell you about some of the things that I saw myself, that I've witnessed, things that have happened over the years, and the bizarre nature of that. So if you don't want to hear about that, just skip this video and go on to another video or something like that. I want to cover an idea that I've been working on lately. When it comes to the paranormal, Bigfoot, alien visitations, all of that, the tendency for the last 25 years or so in the media and explorers and writers of the unexplained, the trend has been to have no theory at all, to just let things be what they are, let the evidence speak for itself, and to not formulate any kind of theories. But I think that might be, that's played out, I think. That was fresh and a good idea. 25, 30 years ago, that was a good idea. That was a good thought process because nobody was doing that. Everybody had their own ideas about everything. And they still probably do, but I think that we need to move away from that and actually start formulating some type of theory out of this to pull it all together. And it may not make sense, but we'll get an idea of what's going on. Now, so the idea that I'm coming up with is nothing new. It's the idea of interdimensional beings, the impact that religion and the power of suggestion has on people. Like, for instance, visions of the Holy Mother that happen. People feel that they're going to have a vision, and they have that vision. Same thing with psychics. Same thing with fakirs, visionaries. I believe there might be a connection between all of this. Faith healing, everything. Okay, now remember, like Helena Blavatsky, remember what she said, if you read up on her. Her mission was to have a unified theory, to pull everything together. And that was her mission in life, to spread the word of the occult, the unexplained, the supernatural, psychic activity, ESP, spiritualism, and predicting the future. When I was a kid, I read a book from Reader's Digest about the unexplained. And one of the things that scared the absolute hell out of me was reading about the devil's hoof prints of Devonshire, England. And that happened way back in the 1800s, but just when I was reading it, you know how kids are, I was thinking about this is happening now, like this could happen. This could happen anytime. And I'd never heard of it before. That was my first exposure to that incident. And sure enough, what did happen? And sure enough, what happened, the next time it snowed, I went out in this area, because I spent a lot of time in these woods as a kid. I saw hoof prints in the snow. And in my mind, it was the devil. Because it was exactly as the way that it was described in the book. It had a peculiar gait to it. I'd studied tracking. I'd been a Boy Scout and everything. Deer weren't really common in this area at that time. This is a long time ago. So. And there weren't the usual signs of deer, like deer droppings. And didn't appear to be a herd of deer or anything like that. It was just one single trail that went around everywhere, through fences and everything. So I never really could fully explain all of that. Other weird things have happened in these woods when I was a kid. Like I found a dog, a neighborhood dog, with its head removed, completely taken off, and the body dumped. Couldn't find the head anywhere. And at the same time, the girl that it belonged to, she was the same age as I was out looking for it. And I showed her the body. She said, yeah, that's it. It was a collie. I showed her the body because she was out looking for it. And she says, yes, that's my dog. And we told the parents about it. Okay, so the camera kept freezing up. I don't know what's going on. I'm losing battery power, so I had to stop my investigation of that for the video. So I'm back here. I'm in the library. And it doesn't really matter because nobody's going to watch this video anyway. But I'm probably going to have to make about 30 or 40 videos before people start watching. You know how YouTube is with the algorithms and everything. So anyway, what I was going to say is that there was some pet disappearances and mutilations in the area. This is over, you know, like 30, 40 year period. It's not something that happens all the time that I know of, but we've had, my parents had some cats that disappeared. That's not unusual, but we had one cat one time that was, it died in the backyard, and it looked like surgery had been done on it. It wasn't eaten or anything like that. I didn't see it, but my mom, she buried it before I could see it. It looked like its stomach had been sliced open and surgically, like a biopsy or something. She said it was really strange. It really upset her. We had no idea what would do something like that. We thought maybe an owl could do something like that, but I don't know. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And some other weird things like that. I've seen birds that have been beheaded, like when I was a kid. You know, stuff that I can't explain. I'll go into that maybe in some detail in other ways, but I have this idea of like cattle mutilations, monster sightings, weird crimes and things like that seem to kind of come in a flap. We all know about that. And I also like the idea of like tulpas. If you don't know what that is, look it up, but it's basically like if you imagine something, the psychic energy that you give off can make it become real. And in a way that kind of goes along with expectations also. If you believe in ghosts, you see ghosts. And the same thing with any kind of other legend. Most legends have some basis in fact when you think about it. There's always some kind of fact involved. And we need to look into that kind of thing, I think. as these videos that I'm doing progress, I'm looking into things like devil worship in the area, conjuring, witchcraft, maybe some of the alternative religions. I'm not the only person that has heard about all this. There's some very reputable people in the area that have experienced odd things. Like there's a lot of graveyards, really old ones, that'll be deep in the forest around here. And there's evidence of like grave robbing. There's evidence of possible witch covens. Witchcraft was really popular in this area up into the 2000s. I don't think it is much anymore. I don't hear much about it. Most people around here seem to be kind of like either just regular churchgoers, or like some of the younger people are just basically atheists. But Wicca, witchcraft, paganism used to be really popular. You go back about 10, 15 years ago, it was extremely popular. And there's no telling what people got up to, you know. Most alternative religions, the people that I know, they're into spiritualism, into fortune telling. They're well-meaning people. They don't mean anybody any harm. But there might be some other aspects of society that we don't know about that could be into some things that are more sinister. Things that could have involved sacrifice and that kind of thing. So I believe is that you know, if you read the works of people like writers like John Keel, even Lovecraft. A lot of people think that Lovecraft actually was channeling ideas from somewhere else, and that it was all true. I don't really believe that, but a lot of people believe that the Necronomicon was real, and that all the stuff that Lovecraft was talking about was real. Maybe he didn't realize that it was, but that he was channeling a force from some other world. There's a sect of society that actually, you know, believes that, and in a way that it isn't crazy to believe that, because it doesn't make. It's no more dumb to believe it than not, because we don't know. We don't know what's out there and what goes on. There's a buddy of mine that was always a skeptic, and he says, I don't believe in ghosts. If I can't see it, I don't believe it. And I told him, I said, you know, you go back 150 years, people didn't know what x-rays were. You know, they couldn't see it. If you told them about it, they would have laughed about it. Same thing with radio waves. Not until you have the scientific equipment to see x-rays and to pick up radio waves and send do you realize it's just an everyday thing. You go back 150, 200 years, that's all science fiction. So, just because you can't see something, feel it, touch it, doesn't mean that it's not a reality. It's very important. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm going to look into this a little bit deeper. I'll be doing some investigations. I'd love to hear from you. I will see you soon. Hit like and subscribe.